Welcome new and old friends, my name is 2482, and today 42 got us 5 Glitch in the Matrix stories. We have a mix of a few different kinds. Some about time traveling or being stuck in a different time, some about items moving or disappearing, and one about something floating in the sky that they just can't place. Remember, if you enjoy this video, hit the like button and make sure it feels it. Turn off your lights, make sure your doors and windows are locked. Things are about to get spooky. A box of brownies teleported, and my neighbor is making me think I hallucinated. Bye, throw me away. This is a long one, so brace yourself. Last year, I, 23 female, moved into my grandma's house to look after her. She lives on a big property with a field, an orchard, a large garden, and a dingle at the bottom of the driveway. I know this place like the back of my hand. I visited here since I was a child. We have a neighbor, whom I met a few times. He has a wife who baked us a bunch of really beautiful cupcakes that her husband brought over. However, at the start of this story, I never met her. So, a couple days ago, I wanted to repay the favor, so I made a batch of 20 brownies with my sister and started my walk to their house. As I'm walking down the driveway, I snuck one out to eat myself, because I figured I earned it, so I'm walking and eating. The geography is a bit weird to describe, but essentially their house is on the embankment above my grandma's driveway, which leads to the main road. To get there without trespassing on their land, I'd have to walk to the main road, but then head up the hill the side road and enter their driveway that way. This day, I got to the dingle at the bottom of the driveway and felt lazy. What's the point of going all the way around when I can just enter through their gate at the bottom here? I had been to their house many times as a child when my grandmother's friends still lived there, so I actually knew their house quite well. Those friends passed away a couple of years ago, so this couple moved in about the same time I moved in with my grandma. Their gate leads to a little path that goes through their back garden. It's a really steep back garden that mostly consists of wide wooden steps all the way across with plants and gardening gnomes on each one. It's pretty picturesque, honestly. As I was walking up the garden, feeling self-conscious about trespassing, but not actually giving enough shit not to, I tripped on one of the steps. I have dysphagia. I faceplant because I was holding the brownies and didn't want to drop them. And I ended up tumbling over a couple steps too. As I'm lying there, shocked and a little pained, I hear my neighbor's wife come running down the garden. She asked me if I was okay, obviously surprised to see me there. Bear in mind, she had never seen my face before, so she must have been extra baffled. I told her I was just there to drop off some brownies, I begged. But as I'm saying it, I noticed the tub of brownies is just missing. I was literally holding them 30 seconds before. Cue extreme embarrassment. I assumed that they had fallen down the garden somehow in my fall, but this isn't a small tub, it's relatively big, and there's no sign of it anywhere. After 10 minutes of looking, I admit defeat and tell her sorry, I'll make some more and bring them some other time. Red face, I retreated back to my grandmother's house. Then, yesterday, I decided to go and sit in my grandmother's orchard with my cat. He's a pretty wild cat, used to be a stray, and you get better bonding time with him by chilling in a tree with him than you do giving him dreamies and pets or whatever. So my cat and I are chilling in the tree in my grandmother's orchard, when my cat suddenly jumps down and jogs all giddy-like to the shed at the back of the orchard. It's a really discreet shed that hasn't been opened since like 2006. It could contain gold bars, and I wouldn't have a clue. I thought he saw a mouse or something, but I was curious, so I followed him. There's a ditch filled with needles and barbs right outside the shed. and I notice my cat is trying to find a pain-free way to get into the bushes there. I'm like, WTF, you're fighting a losing battle there, my guy. He looked up at me and meows, which is weird in itself because this animal never meows. Like he doesn't really know how, stray and all. I'm taken aback, like, what do you want me to do, little man? That's when I see it. The corner of a box that looks very similar to something I lost, peeking out from beneath a bunch of full worn torn nettles. But I have jeans on, and the pain tolerance of all my ancestors. So I waded in and edged it out. Lo and behold, it's my tub of brownies. I can't really describe the degree of absolute confusion I felt at this moment. You ever get the vibe that there's a bunch of calculators going on just outside your field of vision that you'll never comprehend? My cat was freaked out about it, didn't like the tub at all. That's not completely out of character for him because he can be skittish sometimes with no explanational reason. But I let him sniff the box and then he blooped away with his back all puffed. Extremely bewildered, I took the box inside and opened it. I counted the brownies, and there's 19, which accounts for the one I eaten on my way down. They're still completely fresh and taste delicious. I ate another one, so I figure I'll take them over. I go to the neighbors, this time the long way around, and knock on the door, and it's the wife. I apologize profusely for the last time and hand her the tub. She was looking at me a little perplexed and then said, "I don't think we met before, have we?" I'm pretty sure this is the moment in most video games where the protagonist loses her absolute marbles and becomes the anti-hero with this wild mental health issues. I described to her the last time, and she has no memory of it at all. But I recognize her. It definitely happened. So I dipped again, embarrassed once more, and this is the point where I am at now. Explanation, people? I'm so frustrated that it's been 6 nights and my chamomile tea and manuka honey isn't setting me off to a blissful deep sleep when I can just blink and it'll be morning. It worked perfectly when I first tried it at Brendan's house last week. A Snapshot in Time by MyAcrobaticToe. A most unusual thing happened to me a few weeks ago. It was 4:45 a.m. and I got up to use the restroom. I walked into the hallway and passed by my daughter's bedroom. I was, by this time, wide awake. Right away, I noticed that her door was ajar and the ceiling light on. This seemed strange because she rarely gets up early in the morning. I looked and saw that she was watching her phone, holding it horizontally as if she was playing a video. This was also odd, because she always uses her laptop, not her phone, to watch things. I called her name, wondering why she was awake. She was leaning up, not sitting straight, with her knees also bent. She had no back support. The position was odd, not at all comfortable. It was as if she had begun to sit up and time stopped. She didn't react or turn towards me, even though I spoke her name in quite a loud voice. She wasn't moving, just sitting up in this strange position, as if a video was paused. When I told my daughter about what I saw, she had no recollection of being awake that early or of me stopping by her room. Another odd thing happened simultaneously. One of my dogs, who always chases her cat, usually barks like crazy. As I stood in her doorway, the dog dashes into the room, then darts around the end of her bed, not barking or looking for the cat. He then shoots out of the room, as if startled by something. I turned to go continue down the hall, thinking it was weird that my daughter didn't react at all, that she was just watching her phone in such an uncomfy position, as if in suspended animation. I didn't think about the dog being frightened until I got to my bedroom. Upon returning from the restroom, I noticed that her bedroom light was off. When I've shared this story, many people have questioned how I could have just walked away from my daughter's room. Honestly, I don't know why. I've always been one of those helicopter moms, worried and overprotective. My daughter's 23, lives in another city, and was visiting me for a few weeks. I remember not being concerned at the time. It was odd, very out of character, to say the least. According to the Bigfoot experts, Bigfoot lives in the woods and communicates by knocking trees with branches. As I saw the beast walk past the cabin holding the broken body of one of my hiking partners, I realized the experts don't know shit. Friend and I saw a floating ball of fire by CabernetTheCat. Hi there, this is an old one, but I thought I would post it. Not sure if this counts as a glitch, but I wanted to share. My friend and I were home for Christmas break from college. This actually happened on December 20th, 2012. It was the day before the world was supposed to end, so we were going to the world is ending party. Not sure if that's relevant, but it kinda sticks out to me. Friend picks me up when we're about a minute from my house when I see something and tell her to stop driving. There is this ball of fire in the air and we're both stumped and take a video of it on our phones. We couldn't figure out how close or far away it was. We first thought it could be a plane that's engine caught on fire, but it wasn't plane shaped. It was sort of circular. It wasn't moving in a fixed direction. The best way I could describe it was maybe a piece of paper that was on fire and kind of floating in the wind. It would go left and right, up and down, but just randomly, kind of jagged. We joked it was the second meteor and that the world really was about to end, so we probably should book it to the party and live it up. We were sober at the time though, and it was early dusk, so it was just starting to get dark. The sky was kind of pink if I remember right. When we replayed our videos, we couldn't make out the objects. It didn't disappear, I just don't think our 2012 phones could pick up the detail. We called my dad and he went outside and looked and didn't see anything. Called a few friends and they didn't see anything, so we believe it was closer to us than we perceived. It was really hard to discern how big it was or how high up it was. Any stories like this come to mind, or any idea what we saw? Someone told me once, because I tell this story all the time, it was most likely a meteor or a firework. But it didn't move like a meteor, up and down and side to side, and it lingered there for a while unlike a firework. And even we want to be open to UFOs, it was glowing reddish and orange colors, like it was on fire. I distinctly remember thinking it was on fire, and nothing was even found and no one else I talked to saw it and it wasn't on the news. This is West Virginia in the US. Edit. It was most likely a paper lantern or a ball of lightning, which is extremely intense, and if you haven't heard of it, please look it up. Thanks, Reddit. It honestly been eating me up for the last 10 years because it was so strange. I'm sorry it didn't turn out to be a glitch after all. For all of history, no one who has entered that cave has returned, so we sent a drone down there. They're all still alive, deliriously dancing and singing in the cave's deepest cavern. Every last one of them. Glitch/Time Slip by DysturbedSerenity. I'm new to Reddit, so I'm not sure exactly where to post this. Apologize if it does not belong, and for the length. This is the weirdest experience I've had to date, and I still get choked up and emotional when I think about it. It was 2010 and I was 25 years old, living at home with my very supportive parents who were helping me through college, after previously dropping out of high school and having two amazing children. It was early autumn afternoon, around 4 to 5 p.m. I was in my room doing some homework on my laptop at my desk. The desk faced the wall directly across from my bed, and my older style box TV was on top of my dresser to the left of my desk, about 2 feet away. I was, as usual, procrastinating doing my homework, so I was mindlessly watching some dumb TV show. Because my TV was so close, I stood up instead of using a remote to change the volume on my TV. As I reached out my left hand to press the button, as if a switch flipped, my entire environment changed. This affects me still to this day. I still feel it in my soul that something strange happened. I didn't hallucinate. It was real. I was back in my childhood home, some 20 miles away, and seemingly 18 years in the past. I was standing in front of the only hallway closet in the one-bedroom house that I grew up in. The house was over 100 years old, and the closet was one of those with the doors that slid open on the tracks. You know, the ones that the doors never go back on the tracks, right? So you must be careful of how you open it. Anyway, the door to the closet was open, and my already outstretched left arm was reaching towards a very distinct item. When I was little, my mother had this perfume bottle that, for some reason, I was absolutely in love with. The perfume itself was cheap and didn't smell particularly good to me. The bottle was glass and shaped like a bird, maybe a dove. Its wings were up and outstretched. It was beautiful, but it had a broken wing. I probably broke it, being the curious and clumsy child I was, and still am. So there I was, one moment in my somewhat modern bedroom in 2010, the next in that old one-bedroom hallway across the county, back in time 18 years. I was there. I saw the bird bottle. I was within inches of grabbing it. My heart melted for that dumb little bottle of stinky perfume shaped like a one-winged dove. Oh my god, this is not a Fleetwood Mac song, I swear. Before my hand could actually make physical contact with that precious bird, the switch flipped again. I was back in front of my TV, outstretched left hand and all. My mind could not comprehend what had just happened, and I felt immediately sick and dizzy. I was in such a state of shock and confusion that I just walked out of my room, down the hall and into the living room and out into the front yard. I could do nothing but lurch over, hands on my knees, and try desperately to catch my breath, but mostly my sanity. This experience was just so jarring, so real. I was physically in front of that open closet reaching for that damn bird bottle. Then I wasn't. I wasn't particularly stressed about classes. It was community college. I'm not prone to hallucinations, and I was stone cold sober when the experience happened. I've only told a few people because, honestly, the subject of momentarily teleporting through time and space doesn't come up in conversation often, and I only know a few people that I can tell. Has anyone had anything like this happen? I still have no explanation, and it might have just been a weird break in psych. But it was not a dream, and I was not under the influence of anything or under any unusual stress. I held my wife tightly, whispering, "I love you," over and over as the bright sunlight washed over us. Our final shield melted away, and the computer continues to remind us the engines are offline as we drift towards the sun. Missing Scissors by KLove114. This happened a few months ago, but it still bothers me. I did not have enough karma at the time to post it though. So I'm a very detailed and organized person. Less is more in regards to my living space. My room is almost always in order, but most important to note, everything has a place. So it's not in its place, I know it's missing. I also hate losing things, so I'm hyper aware of where my belongings are. So I have a cup on my shelf that I store pens and markers, and I vetted every pen/marker before I went in there, LOL. And frankly, don't use them that often. But I still like to know that they're all worthy of use, that I'm not collecting junk. This is just to note that I'm familiar with what I have in there because I loathe clutter. What I also keep in there is a letter opener and a greater pair of scissors I kept from an office job many years ago. These items I use quite often. At some point last year, the scissors went missing. Even though I do live with my family, I have my own floor and we don't really go into each other's spaces. We live more like roommates, especially in the sense that we have many of our own common items rather than communal ones, including scissors. I was annoyed and asked everyone for a while if they had seen my scissors or came into my room and took them, to which they all denied. Over the next few months, instead of just getting new scissors, I would just get really annoyed every time I needed one and went to grab them only to be reminded they were still missing. So one day, I go to remove one of those event bracelets from my wrist that I got from going out the night before. Out of habit, I go to get the scissors, forgetting once again that they've been missing for months. I take the letter opener instead. I know, risky, and tell myself, that's it. Just take the extra little black scissors home from work that you've had at your desk for ages. I use the letter opener to remove the bracelet and put it back, and that's it. The next day, I of course forget to bring the scissors home from work. I work in a shared office space, so most of the supplies are communal, and those scissors haven't crossed my line of sight that day to remind me to bring them home. So when I get home, I do have a ton of mail to open though. So I go to get my letter opener, and when I tell you, my heart dropped into my stomach when I did not see the letter opener, but the scissors that have been missing for months. I just stared at them in disbelief. I then asked all my family members which one of them had randomly returned my scissors that they all denied taking all those months ago. After the initial blatant denial to my question, I was practically begging them to tell me they returned them because I needed an explanation. But my parents and brothers said they had no idea what I was talking about. I begged them to tell me they were playing a joke on me, knowing they aren't the pranking type, but still needed an explanation. None of them even remember me asking about those missing scissors months ago in the first place, and truthfully thought I was crazy and annoying for going on and on about a scissor all night. I was pretty freaked out, and my denial and confusion made me decide to take the entire contents out of the cup, even though my letter opener clearly was not there and couldn't be missing if it was. But let me tell you, what I then found hidden among the pens was the small black scissors from work that I never actually brought home the day prior. I basically sat on the floor for an hour trying to find a rational and logical explanation for the entire thing to help me sleep at night. It's been months, and I would like to note that my letter opener is still gone despite searching high and low for it. And I now have 2 pairs of scissors at home. Curious what others think, because I really still can't conjure a complete explanation that doesn't involve having memory loss or my family playing a trick on me, which I also know didn't happen. My gaze was fixed on the ceiling of my room, where the unfamiliar voice warned that death would swiftly find anyone I bed. As I heard Mom come in and close the door behind her, I was suddenly relieved that I would never have to do this again. And with that, our time together is coming to an end. As always, I would like to thank the writers who let me read their stories today. I hope you all stay within your own time and your things stop disappearing. I also wanted to keep the story in of the guys who figured out what they actually saw. To me, it's still important to see stories where they think it was glitching and then realize that they were wrong. I think it's also a reminder that sometimes our minds play tricks on us or we just can't place things at the time. And then there's weird things that you just can't explain, scissors that disappeared, you being transported back into your childhood home, your child sitting oddly like she's frozen in time. It's weird things like these that make me wonder if maybe we are in a simulation. Or maybe this world isn't quite put together right and we see other dimensions, timelines, and other things feed in every once in a while. I doubt we'll ever fully know what all this means. Now, if you enjoyed these stories, hit that like button and make sure it feels it. If you're new and this kind of content is something you like, please subscribe and turn that pretty little bell to all notifications. Leave me a comment down below on which story was your favorite or what you think of glitches in the Matrix. I really enjoy comments. I look forward to reading them and seeing people's feedback. And another thing you can do is share this video with anyone who might enjoy it. If you'd like to help in other ways, I do have Patreon and YouTube memberships where for $1 a month you get early access to the audios as well as extra stories. We're up to 35 at this point. If you'd like to get something with my avatars on it, I also have merch, and if you'd like to just do a one-time donation, I have PayPal and Buy Me a Coffee. All the links, including the ones to my social medias, are down below. But as always, guys, thank you for watching and listening. It really means the world to me. And I'm just happy people are enjoying these stories that I find and bring to life with my own voice. Sleep tight, and don't let 42 bite.